You're watching DDI India News Hour. I'm Sakal Bhatt. Shifting focus to European Parliament, which has come pretty hard on the Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban for meeting President Vladimir Putin in Moscow recently, almost reprimanding him of his so-called self-styled Ukraine peace mission. In a resolution passed on Wednesday, the European Parliament condemned Orban's Russia visit as a blatant violation of the EU's treaties and common foreign policy. It may be recalled that Hungary took over as the rotating 6-month EU presidency in July. This is a role which puts Budapest in charge of organizing EU meetings, but it does not authorize Orban to conduct any sort of diplomacy on behalf of the 27-country EU bloc. Saglik Chakrabarti of DDI India has filed this report.
It is now or never as the crucial vote to decide on continuing Ursula von der Leyen for another term as European Commission President will take place on Thursday, and Ursula is leaving no stone unturned in her effort to convince EU lawmakers to make up their mind for supporting her. Von der Leyen's supporters say she offers stability in the wake of EU facing an existential threat in the midst of geopolitical developments like Russia-Ukraine conflict, uncertainty over US polls, and an assertive China.
Without a doubt, I'm glad to say my Fine Gael colleagues and I would be voting for Ursula von der Leyen, because when you look at a person's record, you have to look at it over the entirety of their record. And over the 5 years that she has been president, she's done a remarkable job.
The action of Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban for meeting Russian President Putin has come for criticism from European Parliament. The move comes in the latest reprimand of Budapest's self-styled peace mission to end the war in Ukraine. In a resolution, the European Parliament condemned the visit to Russia as a blatant violation of the EU's treaties and common foreign policy, calling for repercussions for Hungary. The resolution as a whole, which also included sections on the EU's continuous support for Ukraine, was adopted by a large majority of 495 EU lawmakers out of the 679 that voted.
A few days ago, the most visible head of the new group of false patriots, Orban, met with Putin to denigrate the EU, to proclaim that he has a peace plan that nobody knows about, and to promote Russian expansionism.
Meanwhile, Russia and Ukraine have exchanged 95 prisoners of war from each side, totaling to 190 prisoners after the United Arab Emirates acted as an intermediary. The prisoner exchange was the third of its kind in the past 7 weeks. The Kherson region bore the brunt of the Ukrainian attacks, with 1 person dead, 8 others injured, according to Russian-installed official. In another tragic incident, a Ukrainian drone killed a young couple traveling in a civilian car outside Russia's southern border town of Belgorod. With bureau inputs, Saglik Chakrabarti for DDI India.
And DDI India's Alex Kadir has sent us this report from Brussels.
Far right would be able to mobilize as in a united front, perhaps not to block this resolution, but at least to have a show of opposition, a show of force among their ranks. That doesn't seem to have been the case. Quite a large majority of 495 lawmakers of those who voted, that was 679 voted, 495 voted in favor of this resolution. That was clearly a message that the governing coalition of the centre-right, centre-left and centrist parties have a strong majority when it comes to support for Ukraine, and therefore criticising Viktor Orban. We heard the leader of the Socialists saying that Viktor Orban met with President Putin to denigrate the EU, to proclaim that he has a peace plan that nobody knows about, and to promote Russian expansionism. The Hungarian foreign minister hitting back, saying it's unacceptable to stigmatise a country for advocating diplomatic solutions. That was in a statement just yesterday. Clearly, there is a will in the European Parliament to make sure Hungary is held to account, as they see it, for breaking ranks with the European position, a common position agreed by those 27 member states and by the European Parliament. At the moment, this resolution may have passed, but Hungary remains on a clear collision course with a majority of the European Parliament and a majority of the European member states. Caroline.
And now let's move on to the update on the recently concluded elections in Rwanda, where Paul Kagame is all set to continue as the